Welcome to Coug Fan TV. We have a special guest, a friend of the show, Ed Easton Jr. Ed works for the Chiefs Wire. He is a beat writer and host for at Chiefs Wire. You can find his work there. Ed, last time we talked, it was pre-draft. Essa Pole had told us, hey, I had a couple meetings with the Chiefs beforehand. Sure enough, he gets picked up as an undrafted free agent shortly after the draft. Now, this is a guy that played basketball growing up, started playing football in junior college. So obviously, maybe a lot of untapped potential here. What did you see with this signing?
Well, this was definitely a opportunity to add depth to that left tackle spot. Obviously, the signing of Jalen Moore from the Chiefs in the offseason to start free agency, and then the draft pick for Josh Simmons, who's pretty much penciled in to be the future starting left tackle. You see a player like Isapo, his stature, this is a big guy, um, played well for the Cougars last season. Shows the ability to be a guy that can fit into that left tackle spot if needed, whether he is a starter or he's going to be a trusted backup. They a lot of times with the Chiefs, with Andy Heck, he likes to try guys at different spots on the offensive line. A guy like Pohl, because of his size and he has the experience now in terms of the time he played at Washington, I just think he makes a lot of sense for what the Chiefs are trying to do. They like guys that have that flexibility that can move, and especially with a guy with so much power, he fits into what they want to do at left tackle if he's needed. Because, like I said, they have Josh Simmons. That's who they want to be their starter moving forward. Wanye Morris is also kind of in the mix, but he's a guy that's going to move around a lot on the offensive line. Poe has a shot of really doing something on this line, especially with the injuries they've had in past seasons, where I think he is going to make contributions.
Yeah, and you mentioned the first round draft pick, Josh Simmons. Obviously, there's still some questions if he's going to be healthy to start the year for him. And the Chiefs are obviously in a position where they can wait for a guy like Josh Simmons to get to full health. But do you see Pole as like a guy that's like really trying to attack maybe that swing tackle spot? A couple swing tackles on the practice squad or depth. Is that kind of where he's looking at finding that spot?
Oh, definitely, and I think that's what they see him as well. You see him obviously in the tackle spot. He could probably fill in there. I still think left tackle would be the best spot for him either way. And the Simmons injury is going to play a big factor on whether or not he is a guy they can see moving forward. If like I said, we're just thinking well down the line here. Could he be a guy that makes the team as depth because they still have Jalen Moore, that is the big free agent signing that they brought in, who would be the starter if Josh Simmons is not available. So injuries, things of that nature happen. How flexible, how versatile can he be on the line? Can he be a guy that can step in that guard? Can he do these different things? I think it all depends on how he performs in camp. Obviously, they just had a rookie camp, and you get a small sample size of what he can do. But once we start moving further along this summer, let's see what he could do when he's with the main roster of guys and really throw him out there because that's when they really test. And I just remember, and I want to stay obviously on Pole, but Kingsley when they drafted him last year, he performed extremely well during camp. That he was the starter at the start of the season. Obviously, it didn't last, but it does happen when a young player plays well in camp, impresses a guy like an Andy Reid. He's going to take a shot on him. Carson Steele was an undrafted free agent, and he was at one point the starting running back for the Chiefs for about
Yeah.
2 weeks. So things happen. It's all about how you perform during this time period.
Obviously just finished that initial 3-day rookie mini camp, a couple vets and whatnot come in as well. Do teams kind of take that weekend with a grain of salt? You as a reporter with a grain of salt, what are they really looking for in these 3 days? Just kind of getting these guys acclimated?
Well, it's one of my favorite things, especially with people on social media that will overhype a video footage of an amazing catch or an amazing tackle and things of that nature. They got to realize it's rookie camp. The coaches just want to see what the players can do actually on the field. For all this time leading up to that, whether they were a draft selection or undrafted signing, it's all film. A lot of it's film, a lot of it's combine work, a lot of it's pro day work. They want to see what the guys do in their facility, under their structure of how they want to do things. So that's really what it is. They want to see what the person's like. It's like it's more of a get to know you type of thing when you talk about rookie camp. So I don't put too much, weight on it. Of course, you're gonna get the occasional highlights. They're gonna be doing drills, but once again, there's no real hitting. There's no real um, action that you would consider to say NFL action because you're not having pro players out there. These are just guys trying to make the team, and or just guys just trying to make a spot that have been drafted. So it's I don't take it for that. I just take it for a get to know you session. That's pretty much what it is for that weekend.
Another Coug, a rookie added, undrafted, just invited Nusi Milani, a defensive lineman. Where is this West Coast rogue Washington State scout on the Chiefs roster? I mean, have you guys heard anything in terms of like, has someone asked what is with the WSU fixation?
You know what? I don't think it was actually asked. I think it's more of a credit to Washington State and just the great players that are producing because there's a reason why the Chiefs are so focused on them. I mean, you got a guy like Jaden Hicks and Jalen Watson and what they've done so far that it just makes it easier to say, okay, this school they are putting together pro talent. So you want to take an extra look at them, whether it's on the offensive line or a defensive line, where it's earned that. The school's reputation of putting out amazing pro talent is what's making them, I guess, such a hot, a hot spot for the Chiefs to look at for their scouting department. They look for certain intangibles, which these players all do. They're all a bunch of gritty players that are, I don't want to say playing above their heads, but they just play exceptionally well when given the opportunity. You can name every player, even going to Gardner Minshew back to when he was in Jacksonville or every place he's gone, he's always found a way to make an impact on a team. So Jalen Watson, before his injury, was the second best corner on the team. You got Jaden Hicks is another great player. So it's all that type of time and just the type of mentality that the Washington Cougars players have shown, and the Chiefs scouting department is really taking a hold of.
Kind of break down where Jaden Hicks is going to be on the depth chart this year. His piece, obviously, we know McDuffie and Jalen Watson are going to be your 1-2 and corner on the cornerback side of things. And I guess the second part question is does Jalen for the most part have that second cornerback slot kind of nabbed down?
Well, I would say with Hicks, just to start off with that part, I think he's going to get more playing time. Obviously, with Justin Reed moving on, they like to move guys around in the secondary a lot. So even last year, he got playing time because of the way Spags runs his game plan. He'll have different packages where he's the guy coming in as the blitzer, or he's the guy that's dropping back into coverage, and then they'll have Reed come up as the blitzer, and they'll just play them all together. So I just go by the system, and the system he's in, he's going to see playing time regardless. So I think he does take a step forward, knowing that he's had more time under his belt, and like I said, Reed departing and him knowing the system a little better than some of the guys they have brought in. That's going to play a significant factor. I do believe Jalen Watson will be the number two. Now, once again, we're having this conversation in May, so
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point of what he's proven over the last couple of years now with the team, he seems like the steady option when healthy. But let's also remember Christian Fulton was signed, and he is a player that they look to move around at corner. He's a guy that he's always had that high upside. And he's a guy they've loved since the combine back in 2020. But now that they have the opportunity to add him to this defense, Spags may have plans for him as well. And then you got to think about whether or not they want to put Trent McDuffie back in the slot. So it's all these types of decisions that they haven't officially made. And if you put McDuffie back where he's even better, which is the slot, he's a first team All Pro guy there. Then I think you can see Watson as a definite one or two guy there on the corner. So there's options. I think Watson is in the driver's seat if I had to pick right now.
Awesome. And then last one for you. Have you guys had any media availability with Gardner Minshew yet? Any first, impressions of what the veteran's going to do here?
Well, he gave a media availability shortly after he signed, and he was very optimistic, excited for his opportunity to work with Patrick, work with Andy Reid. He seems like you love the energy he brings. He's I think any other guy you bring in, knowing that you're going to be the backup to Patrick Mahomes, who is the franchise quarterback, would probably feel a little less excited knowing that they may not see the playing time. But I think he's a guy that's willing to work in practice, willing to make the team better. He's just shown a great attitude. He's got praised by Andy Reid recently during his media availability. So he's already doing all the right things, and Mahomes is already. I think they've already connected. So it's definitely a guy that I feel like will make an impact on this team, whether it's on the field or in practice. So those things do matter.
Well, folks, there you have it. Ed Easton Jr. You can catch his material, his work over at the Chiefs Wire on X, Facebook, Instagram. Really appreciate it, and we'll probably tap back in sometime this season.
So looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.